Rhiannon Bevan of The Gamer recently published an article titled Storylines Have Been Cut. Baldur's Gate 3 actor warns that diversity is being removed from some games. Let's get into it.
Salute!
While many of these initiatives were strictly about hiring practices, the sentiment behind this shifting policy was felt everywhere, with the rise in racist, transphobic, and other bigoted laws and attitudes across the United States and beyond.
What racist, transphobic, and bigoted laws exist, and what attitudes by whom are they referring to? Seems like the author is just whining that their ideology is no longer a mandate regarding DEI hiring practices, as if some non-white hire was some general rule for making a game better, when evidence shows only the opposite is true. Samantha Bayart, the voice actress for Karlach in BG3, says
that they are already aware of game devs who have had their work censored, as the industry appears to be bowing down to the regressive politics of Trump's second term.
I don't think she means game devs, maybe game designers or writers or maybe producers, but which games?
Where the video games?
BG3 is a high fantasy story with lots of diverse characters and branching paths, so what specifically is she referring to? There's lots of things going on in that game, and of course stuff got cut. Or is she talking about other games?
Queer stories might be getting censored in games.
Oh no, the sadness, the tragedy.
In our current climate, they feared that a game as diverse as Baldur's Gate 3 would struggle to get greenlit now.
No, it would not. After selling 15 million copies, I don't think Larian Studios, a company from Ghent, Belgium, or any company trying to make a game similar to BG3, would have a problem, regardless of any American federal government policy towards hiring practices.
Without exposing devs, I know that's happening. Their storylines have been cut, they tell me. Historically, appeasement is a really bad thing.
Historical appeasement is a really bad thing? Then what the heck do you think DEI is?
Indies exist, and people can write, and communities will get together. And we will absolutely get through this together.
Is this person in group therapy? Anyone can make a game. You can write whatever you like. The lack of a DEI policy won't stop you, and now it won't stop you from hiring whatever writer you want. Hire a bag of potatoes as your ghostwriter. It's totally fine.
This also comes amid the revival of the Gamergate movement.
Shut the fuck up! Thank you.
It also means we often see the argument that games with characters that are non-white and or queer will sell poorly.
No, it doesn't. But this thing called history tends to tell its own little story.
Baldur's Gate 3 quite obviously disproved that, as it was reported to have sold 15 million copies as of November 2024.
Then why did you write this? Why did you have this train of thought? BG3 sold well because it was a great game, not because it has sex in it. Or it hired non-white guys from Belgium. Sure, they got a 4.3 on Glassdoor for DEI, whatever that means. But the only people who reported that were by 5 white guys. You interpret what that means. We don't care about races in fantasy stories unless they break the lore, are retconned, or the writer is using race as a soapbox to promote socialism. In fact, many fantasy stories and other genres benefit from racial conflict, like elves and humans, elves and dwarves, elves and night elves. You get the idea. It's interesting not because it's there, but by how it's done, with characters having their own faults, failings, opinions, and biases of others. Conflict in stories is not only good, it's essential. Bring on elven supremacy.
As Bayard alludes to, not everyone in the industry is going backwards.
I would argue, and many others, we don't need government anything to make media, and getting rid of government hiring practices or policies on any level is going forward and will make better games, because the only goal is to make a better game, not to hire based off race, which is inherently racist. Having silly HR controls like who gets hired based on a race quota is detrimental. Passion and skill have nothing to do with race.
The indie scene can allow for more creative freedom, as there's no publisher to appease.
Either way, technically hiring people is back to what it was before. Again, this this game journo or just some random whiner not getting their ideology pushed into government policies, apparently, it doesn't mean games won't suck, but hopefully we'll have less games like Forspoken or Suicide Squad or Veilguard. Hopefully. Right, BioWare? You are still there, right? How's hiring all those weirdos working out for you this past decade?
This also isn't anything we haven't come back from before.
What does that mean? Who are we? The industry? Was there a war? You and your group of weirdos who want more DEI stuff? And to prove what exactly? That woke kills comics, movies, games, and everything fun, beautiful, and creative?
As back in the 2000s, we saw Mass Effect 2 devs forced to write out a queer romance for the companion Jack, in response to negative attention from Fox News. We've certainly come a long way since then, with plenty of games allowing for queer romances now.
Last I recall, Kaidan originally had gay romance options with Shepard in Mass Effect 1, which was brought back in Mass Effect 3, but, oh right, we had Liara from the beginning who was bisexual, so what's the problem? Content from games gets cut all the time for lots of reasons, and it wasn't just Jack content from Mass Effect 2. These games have and are still mostly being played by heterosexual males. Pushing a creepy sex agenda that doesn't belong won't change that, nor will glorifying sexuality be anything new or special. This isn't the 1970s, and no one cared about the first lesbian kiss in DS9. No one cares, nor is there reason to. Get over it. And this content is purely optional. It's not even cosmetic. They have nothing to do with the main storyline or what the game is even about. Additionally, in Mass Effect 1 Fox News, that whole fiasco, the opponent accused it of having or being pornography. The accuser, named Cooper Lawrence, later clarified her remarks, stating she had not played the game and that her initial comments were a mischaracterization of the content. She specifically mentioned regretting her statement and calling the sex scenes a joke.
It wasn't like some anti-gay person high up on the Mass Effect 2 team saying, "We're not going to have that." Instead, it had to do with the firestorm of controversy that Mass Effect had received back in 2007. Kindegran added, changes to Jack's romance options apparently came late in the game's development due to the controversy, when the development team were told to focus the relationships on a more traditional kind of vector.
That had nothing to do with the publisher or some EA executive telling them what to do. This was internal and everyone on the team agreeing to can Jack's lesbian option. That's all. It happened with Kaidan, it happened with Jack. No publisher was involved. It was an over-exaggeration on a controversy that did not exist. Much like some opinion by some voice actor who doesn't know of the creative process in writing and developing for video games, and some game journo who, instead of trying to make gamers more informed, is just pushing an agenda.